how do you choose the right type of buttonhole for your garment? And how do you know which direction a buttonhole should face? These are the most common questions in sewing. So in this tutorial, we'll break them down step by step. Hello and welcome to the Sewing Whisperer and the first video in a brand new buttons and buttonholes playlist. In this series, we'll cover everything you need to know to confidently choose, position and sew buttons and buttonholes. Men's and women's button placement have different origins. Historically, men's clothing buttoned left over right, while women's clothing buttoned right over left because maids often assisted with dressing. The right over left rule was broken when women started wearing men's jeans and continues today. If you construct classic women's trousers, you would wrap them right over left, but jeans-style trousers wrap left over right. Next is the direction of the actual buttonholes. Place the buttonholes in the direction of the strain. What does that mean? The best way to explain that is if a person tries on a garment that's too small, it will strain around the body. Therefore, the buttonhole should go horizontally. Most women can relate to the annoying issue of buttons that come undone at the bust point when the buttonholes face up and down. That's because when strained, the buttonhole opens and comes undone. So annoying. However, if there's a tab front on a garment, the rule is broken because the buttonhole runs the risk of going over the tab. So in this case, the buttonholes go up and down. The theory is completely blown with the buttonholes on denim jackets. You can see how close the buttonhole goes to the edge of the stitch line and at times extends over the stitch line. Shirt cuff buttons run around the cuff because if the cuff is strained, it's pulled in that direction. A patch pocket button or patch pocket with a tab runs up and down because if the pocket is over full, the strain is pulled in that direction. Shirts generally have the buttonholes running vertically, whereas jackets, coats and vests run horizontally. What style of buttonhole should be used where and when? Standard, used on shirts, blouses and dresses. Keyhole, commonly used on jackets, coats and tailored garments because the rounded end accommodates thicker buttons and fabrics. Jeans style keyholes, used on jeans. Rouleaux loops as buttonholes, often used on delicate garments, bridal wear and decorative closures. Bound or jetted buttonholes, typically used on coats where thicker fabrics and larger buttons are featured. Now let's have a look at how to add buttonholes to a pattern, or you can pattern hack a pattern. In this case, we'll add them to a centre front. So the first thing you need to do is locate the centre front. Once you've located the centre front, you need to add overlap. And the overlap is so that the buttons will overlap. The buttons themselves sit on the centre front line and you need fabric to overlap, so that there's room to sew the button and buttonhole. We call this wrap, and generally it's about 1.5 centimetres or 5/8 of an inch, and that gets extended outside the centre front, not inside to the garment. So it's extra fabric being added on. Then you need to neaten this edge because it can't be left raw, and to do that, the easiest and simplest way is to add a facing, and a standard facing is generally about 5 centimetres or 4 inches, and that's extended past that again. Now with the facing, that's going to sit back, so that will look more like this. This will be a fold line and it's going to tuck back inside the garment. Now let's add the buttons. So the first button, if you don't have a collar, the first button would normally sit down the same distance as your wrap. So our wrap is 1.5 centimetres or 5/8 of an inch. So the first button is going to sit down from the top that same distance, and it's marked on the centre front line. Then for women's wear, if possible, locate the bust point and make sure you add a button around the bust point as close as you can without distorting the distance between the buttons. Sometimes it just doesn't work and you have to not place one right on the bust, but if it's possible to have one on the bust, try and place one there. From there, decide how many buttons you want. So in this case, I chose to add an extra button here. Sometimes, depending on the garment, you may not like that. You might want to add more, you might want to add less. In this case, I've just added another button in between those two and then spaced the others accordingly. Now this bottom button, particularly if it was on a skirt, you would never put that close to the hem because as you walked you would rip that button. So generally that bottom button doesn't necessarily happen, and in this case, on this particular garment, you could actually do without that bottom button as well. Next, let's have a look how we put horizontal buttons. So with this style of facing, a horizontal button would work well. I'll do a bigger version of this so you can see and understand it. So the first thing you would do is mark your button, and then you would measure 2 mil to 3 mil to the right, and then the width of the button to the left, because the buttonhole is always slightly bigger than the button. Then to add the buttonholes, you use exactly the same principle and pop your buttonholes all the way down. So these are sitting 2 to 3 mil to the right and the width of the button to the left. So the finished pattern is going to look like this, and then of course you would have the other side sitting underneath, and it would look like this. The facing would be folding back as I explained earlier, but you can see the overlap in here. Here's the center front with the button sitting on it. You have your wrap coming on this side on the yellow piece, and you have your wrap coming on the other side on the green piece. Now let's look at how to add vertical buttons and why you would add them. So the first thing is, in this scenario, we're going to have a slightly narrower facing, and that facing is going the width of the opening, so it's double the wrap, which is from here to here, double the wrap. So in this case the wrap's 1.5, so double the wrap would be 3 centimeters, and then a 1 centimeter seam allowance on there. And then if that facing was folded back, you can see it's folding back the 3 centimeters and then the 1 centimeter seam allowance coming back, and then you would have a stitch line that holds that facing in place. If your fabric didn't have a right or wrong side, you could actually fold that to the right side of the garment. But in most cases that would fold to the underside. Now to actually apply the buttons, the principle is exactly the same. So they're placed in the same place, they're on the center front line. Once again, let's have a look at a larger version. So first of all, mark the button. So if the buttonhole is 1.5, you're going to go 0.75 above the button position, and then you'll go 0.75 below the button position. So then if I apply that to all of the buttonholes, it would look like this. You can see they've all been added all the way down. So that's how you add your vertical buttons, and you're adding them that way because of this stitch line. Because if you turned it around, you run the risk of the buttonhole running over the edge, and this panel in here would be reinforced, and because it's reinforced, that's reinforcing your buttonhole and the button position on the other side. So hopefully that gives you an understanding of why you would choose vertical buttonholes and how you do that, and why you would choose horizontal buttonholes. And that's a wrap on buttonhole theory. Up next in the playlist is how to sew standard buttonholes 3 ways: a 1-step automatic buttonhole, a manual buttonhole using a preset dial, and finally a completely manual buttonhole when your buttonhole is too big for the buttonhole foot or your machine doesn't have a buttonhole feature. Be sure to like, subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss it. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next tutorial.